Our last speaker is Phillip Torda with the West Bay District Administrator for Parole with the California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation.
Thank you. Thank you. I would like to thank everyone for inviting me to be here today. My expertise is in field operations. When an inmate is released on parole to the community, the first contact they have is with our agents. And if anyone knows how difficult it is for someone to get off a bus with less than $200 because they paid for the bus fare and to report to the office and say he or she has no place to stay, we're well aware of that because that parolee is now in crisis and we've got to provide some sort of services. I've been in this business 31 years, and I hope I don't look like it. But when I first got in this business, I believed that I got into it to help people. That was the philosophical basis for most of the probation offices and parole at that time. We saw a swing in the other direction, and I'm real excited because I see a swing in the other direction. It's convinced me to stay a few more years just to stick around and see how this works out. But in parole, as Marisela pointed out, in the last 2 years, we've added rehabilitation back into our name. There was a time when that was a bad word to say. But, with that shift, we've also seen a renewed emphasis in reentry. Now, I'm really excited about the AB 900 money that will eventually provide us with reentry beds here in San Francisco, hopefully. But we've also, in the parole field operations, have done stuff to try to help or assist parolees to reintegrate in the community a lot quicker. We have here in San Francisco approximately 1,800 to 1,900 parolees on active parole at any time. We have a weekly PAC meeting, and at that PAC meeting, all our contracted vendors are there. Other community resources are there so we can give the parolee an opportunity to see what's available to them upon their release. We've put money into a parole service center. That's a 40-bed facility where parolees can stay for up to a year while they try to find work. And that program is always at 100 to maybe 110% capacity. I mean, we have a definite need here in San Francisco for more housing resources. Marisela said that 10% of inmates are released with no home to go to, but I do believe here in San Francisco it's a lot greater than that. That seems to be one of our primary issues when parolees get out. We've also have contract services with Walden House, Northern California Service Leagues. We have a mother infant program on Treasure Island that's always full. Women are assessed in prison, and then if they seem or are deemed appropriate for that program, they're released to that program when they're released from prison and transported there. And we've had a huge amount of success at that program. We also have the NOVA. I thank our lucky stars that Sheriff Hennessey had the foresight to develop a program for violent offenders because previously that group of parolees had no services. Because they were convicted of violent offenses, many programs will not deal with them. They will not offer them services. And the same for our sex offenders. They're excluded from a lot of programming. So the NOVA program has filled a void for us, and I tell you, we're so happy, and I sing the praises of that program every chance I get. Another thing that we've done is there's a pre-release program in prison where parole staff are doing assessments on parolees prior to their release. We've had a few issues getting all the information we need, but we're starting to see these assessments flow a lot more freely. And in those assessments, they've identified the needs of a parolee, such as employment, housing, substance abuse, anger management, And that way, the parole agent has an idea of what kind of services are right for this parolee. And we really believe that the quicker we can get a parolee connected to services in the community, the more successful they will be. And that's our focus. And like I said, I'm real excited about the times we're in. And you know, going forward, I hope we get a reentry facility here at some time. Thank you.
Okay, here's our game plan. We're running a little behind schedule. At around 11:30, I hope to open up our discussion for audience questions, and you can address your questions through that microphone that's in the center of the room. I have a number of questions for our panelists, and I know I'm not going to get to all of them, but I'll try. Here's my first question. I've been trying to get a handle on the state of reentry programs. I've been trying to understand the state of reentry programs in San Francisco, and I've been hearing about some wonderfully innovative programs started by the Sheriff's Department, the public defenders, the District Attorney's Office. But I also come away with the impression that these programs serve a small number of ex-offenders, and they're very piecemeal. And I think a lot of ex-offenders are falling through the cracks, and they aren't part of any of these programs. Assuming that money were no object, what would a comprehensive reentry system look like that would serve all or most San Francisco adult ex-offenders returning from federal and state prisons and county jails? Who wants to take that?
Let me jump in if I can. We greatly need in San Francisco, and this has been discussed sort of philosophically, I'll say, in the past year, but we greatly need additional probation services in San Francisco. Almost everybody who gets out of county jail is on probation.